sir is going to deliver is literature and technology, epigraphy and its importance. So especially this lecture is based on epigraphy, insights into ancient tools and methodologies. Again, we are connecting you to our Indian knowledge system through epigraphy. So I hope this lecture is going to be very interesting for you. So before starting the lecture of sir, I would like to invite Amriti sir and Devesh sir for the felicitation for speakers, because one more speaker in the first session, Dr. Yudhishthir sir was there, but we could not felicitate him at the time, just because of we are getting late. We are already late. The session was late, so I'm sorry for that. Ravishankar sir.
What pleasure to honor you, sir.
Oh, it's like thank you, sir, for all your
Dr. Yudhishthir from Hindustan College. Self and body, the coordination between the self and body. Delivered a very nice lecture. It was really very, lot of things were there to learn from sir today. Now, I would like to request Sir, Professor T.S. Ravishankar sir, to start his lecture. Thank you, sir.
good afternoon, dear participants, both online and offline. Pardon me for going with my presentation in English, since I am a bit comfortable. बीच बीच में हिंदी में बोल सकता हूँ, कोई दिक्कत नहीं. आप जो प्रश्न है आप हिंदी में पूछ सकते हैं, because time at disposal is, subject is vast. So to think it in Hindi, वो बोलने में थोड़ा टाइम लग सकता है. So इसीलिए मैं थोड़ा माफ़ी चाहता हूँ. जो मेरा presentation talk है is simple and it's very, very general subject. So kindly bear with me. And I am highly beholden to the authorities, the Department of Linguistics and KM Institute of Hindi and Linguistics and the university, especially Madam and another professor who is not here right now, for coordinating this and creating an opportunity for me to be amidst you this afternoon. Yes, Agra is not new to me. As a tourist, alone and with family, I visited many times. To get academically connected, this is the first opportunity. Though very often I go to Varanasi, Lucknow or Allahabad, as in the morning session our sir was telling, I do conduct a workshop for 7 days. a very comprehensive workshop on epigraphy and paleography. I have touched different parts of the country to revive interest in epigraphy. See, I was immensely happy when they contacted me. See, many subjected with archaeology, art, architecture, iconography, so many subjects, we are focusing, but unfortunately, really unfortunately, epigraphy has been marginalized. It is pushed to background, though it's a primary source to reconstruct our past, to our glorious past. Epigraphy is given the back seat. So I am thankful. Among other disciplines, subjects, they could also consider epigraphy as one of the primary source to look back. If you see volumes of books of history written, it's purely based on epigraphical sources. Whether you take Gupta, any dynasty you name, whether from the north to south, any part of the country, it's because of the huge, enormous number of inscriptions we could construct our history. So, as per the today's talk, it's a very general. I'm not going to make it a very technical one. First, you should understand what is writing. Can any one of you in this group can define what is writing? हम तो लिखते रहते हैं, उसको क्या है? How do you define? What is writing? Please, one of you, let me begin with the question. What is writing?
Writing is an art in which we are presenting our views, our ideas, our knowledge.
Very true. It is one of the very famous, David Duringer defines, art of writing is nothing but graphic representation of a language. In simple terms, he defines, it's a graphic representation of a language. Why I'm touching, going to the roots, it's not just, few sort of general introduction is required. See, the two things come. One is the script, another is language. This is a linguistic department, the science of language. So, two aspects come when it comes to epigraphy. What is epigraphy? To engrave upon any hard object. Epigraphy, it's a Greek word, two words. To engrave upon. Naturally, it's on a hard surface. Lithic means stone and copper plates. These are the two major varieties we find in hundreds and thousands. They have already discovered, even each day when you see new inscriptions are coming to light from different parts, corners of the country. So like archaeology, epigraphy is also a very vibrant subject. Only thing we have not given due importance to it. The history department is there. They say yes, हमको इसके मतलब क्या है? See, they are focused on the modern history or medieval history. But history, for our convenience and specialization, we call it prehistory, proto-history, early history, modern, medieval, whatever you call. But if you take the time lag, it is one history only. For the specialization, we put it in parts, in segments, we take and study. So, here, two sources come. In the Indian knowledge system, one is the archaeological sources, another is the literary sources. When I say archaeology sources, it includes epigraphy, numismatics, that is study of ancient coins, seals and sealings, so, and the manuscripts. And the literary source, of course, you have either of later period or early period. These form the source to understand our knowledge system. And when you think of history or writing, it has a very, very long history. Say, language is as old as man himself, mankind. Perhaps he was making some sound, another person could understand his emotions or feeling what he could want to express. But with the passage of time, many languages that existed in the past in the ancient world, they are no more. Because unless they could give a graphic way of writing, those only remained. There were hundreds of languages spoken. Even if you go some interior where tribal people are there, where they don't exist any language system of writing, but they do express. Perhaps that person understands what you want to convey. So in that way, language is as old as mankind, as man himself. And subsequently, he tried to express. David Derringer says, more than the discovery of fire or wheel, the writing system, the art of writing, is the greatest contribution to mankind. Now you just think in the absence of writing, what would have been there? The entire world would have been paralyzed, no knowledge, no nothing. It's because of writing we are able to understand, read, and whatnot. So, for those who are interested, they can read two books by David Derringer. One is the Writing, another is Alphabet. Writing is a smaller version. So you should know, it is not coming directly to Brahmi or the antiquity of writing in India. You should try to understand how it did exist in the ancient world. What is cuneiform? What is hieroglyphy? So these are the, all this knowledge, will try to help you to connect somewhere the Indus script, where now we are all making efforts. You can't look separately in isolation. So, just to kindle interest in you, because I thought of initially interacting with you all to know from which background you have come from, and this is basically a faculty development program, and much of the things lies with you to take ahead our younger generation. So, these are the very important books to know our past. And he traces the history. I am not going right from pictography to videography to phonetics and alphabet. He comes in different 5 stages. I am not going into those things. One is the antiquity of writing in the ancient world. Then comes the antiquity of writing in India. See, when we come, to the Ashokan rock edicts, somewhere around 3rd century BC, and there are also some few inscriptions belonging to that period. And Now the efforts are on to narrow down the difference. Most of you might have heard in Tamil Nadu there is an excavation going on, PAD. They have found some Tamil Brahmi inscription. They, based on the calligraphy, based on the other archaeological facts, they have taken it to 5th century BC. So they are trying to push the antiquity. That's what we call, since we have seals and sealings, we call that proto-history. Proto-history. That is, efforts are on, but we could not decipher. So, antiquity of writing in India somewhere, there are again two sources. One is the literary source, where we take the Rig Veda and other literary sources, where there are specific expressions mentioning that art of writing did exist in India. It did exist. It's not that. But over the period of time, mostly they would have written on palm leaf or birch leaf, they have perished. Though oral transmission was very powerful, Vedas and all know, when you look into this thing, one is the Brahminical or Vedic, the Buddhist and the Jain. So these are the three other major religious systems. In fact, the Buddhists were very fond of putting in writing sources. You had Tripitaka, so many. Similarly, the Jains. But amongst Hindus or the Brahminical faith, they were orally transmitting. That is the religious part. When it comes to the other side of literature, definitely they would have written on some material, but unfortunately we don't have. That's what the language and the script. The script is extremely essential for all. For a numismatist, to decipher the legend on the coin, your knowledge of script is extremely essential. And don't you want to specialize in manuscriptology, because many hundreds of manuscripts are coming. There again, the role of script is very essential. Unless you are familiar with the Sharda script, or early Nagari, or Proto-Bengali, or even come to down south like Tamil early, you can't decipher. So the script is again important, and for an archaeologist, knowledge of script is extremely essential. Why? The course of excavation, including Ayodhya, already famous, you take, lot of engraved material come to light. Maybe a pedestal with an image with an inscription, or copper plate, or seals and sealings, and potsherds with some script. So here, unless you have the knowledge of the script, you cannot decipher in situ, means on the site itself. You have to decipher. So archaeologists also should have, though not a very specialized way, but he should make some attempt to decipher in situ, then he can go for an epigraphist for further authentication or whatever may be. So why I am emphasizing the knowledge of script is extremely essential, and many times, the students are, I don't know Sanskrit, I don't know Pali or Prakrit. Yes, when it comes, it is like obverse and reverse of a coin. Knowledge of script is essential, similarly the language also. So, what I say, at least you make some attempt to learn the script. Gradually you can improve upon your knowledge about the Prakrit, Pali, Sanskrit. Just don't feel disheartened. Sir, I don't know, have knowledge of Sanskrit, what I have to do? Yes, you have to learn. But basic attempts, learning the script is extremely essential. So when we look at the sources, because most of the students feel epigraphs are nothing but a list of the battles fought and the territories annexed and the expansion, all the political history they think. It is not so. That's what today's thrust, the talk. Yes, prior to pre-independent India, most of the epigraphical sources were used to reconstruct the political history, whether it you take the Mauryas to the Gupta. So all the scholars, they were focusing on the political history. When we read Indian Calligraphy by Ahmad Hasan Dani, it's a very, very significant, very important book to trace the development or the study, calligraphy or epigraphy. Calligraphy, epigraphy, study of the inscription. Calligraphy is the gradual development of the script, century-wise. How from 1st century to 2nd century, the gradual modification which underwent, that is called calligraphy. You have heard of paleobotany, paleozoology, like that. Paleo is ancient, script, calligraphy. So you see the development together. Dani traces this in 3 stages. That is in the last quarter of the 18th century. That is with the establishment of the Asiatic Society of Bengal. Is a very, very landmark event where, apart from Indological studies, they published larger number of inscriptions. That gave momentum to the epigraphical studies. So the first stage, he says, copying of inscriptions throughout the length and breadth of the country. That is the first stage. It is not confined to India alone. Please note, even the scholars in Southeast Asia, like Cambodia, Java, Sumatra, Bali, in other countries also, other countries, including these other countries like Sri Lanka. The first stage, marked by copying inscription from Southeast Asian country and within. So they copied. Then the question came of decipherment. So the second stage is marked by the preparation of calligraphical charts, right from Bueller to many calligraphers they facilitated scholars to decipher. So the second stage is marked by preparation of charts. And the third stage is the publication, bringing it in Epigraphia Indica, Corpus Inscription Indicarum, South Indian Inscription, like many. So these are the 3 stages. I'm not going into that. Why I'm telling? So yes, the pre-independent India, they were focused on the political history. But to know the past, the socio-economic conditions, religious condition, and many aspects, epigraphs are the only source. See, the literary works came much, much later, but the epigraphs were there much. So to give a firm chronological basis, epigraphs played a very, very important role. So I told one is the lithic or stone inscription and the copper plate, they form the major part of this one. So India is singularly rich in epigraphical wealth. Not only they have collected and published a huge corpus. Why I am conducting workshop? Mainly to bring the students to the practical side of decipherment. See, पढ़ने में कुछ नहीं होता, जो पब्लिश है वो पढ़ते हैं. जब भी नया शासन कुछ मिलते हैं उसको पढ़ना बहुत जरूरी है. आप कल एक अर्ली ब्राह्मी इंस्क्रिप्शन मिला 2री शताब्दी का. आपको इफ यू हैव दैट नॉलेज अर्ली ब्राह्मी ऑफ दैट पीरियड यू कैन डिसाइफर. आप बता सकते हैं ये कुशान पीरियड का है, एक क्षत्रपा का है, ऐसे अर्ली ब्राह्मी. इफ यू गो लिटिल फर्दर, इफ यू रीड अ गुप्ता इंस्क्रिप्शन और देयर कंटेम्पोररी एंड अदर डायनेस्टी, आप लेट ब्राह्मी पढ़ सकते हैं. तो जो स्कॉलर से अभी पढ़ने का वो जरूरी है. वी नीड सेकेंड लाइन और थर्ड लाइन ऑफ स्कॉलर्स. नहीं तो कल ऐसे नष्ट हो जाएगा. कोई पढ़ने वाला नहीं, मैन्युस्क्रिप्टोलॉजी पढ़ने वाला नहीं. ठीक है. सी द इम्पॉर्टेंस. इंडिया इज अ कंट्री known for its philosophy, culture, art, architecture, sculptural heritage. 40 साल पहले हम जब जाते थे इन द डिपार्टमेंट, देयर यूज्ड टू बी अ प्रोफेशनल एपिग्राफिस्ट. वो पढ़ने वाला थे. अभी धीरे धीरे खत्म हो गया. कोई डिपार्टमेंट में कोई नहीं अभी आजकल. एंड दैट्स अ वेरी सैड स्टेट. अनलेस all my efforts throughout India, when I go, I want to see right from Jammu Kashmir down south Kashmir to the Kanyakumari, any part. I want to rekindle interest among the faculties as well among the students, so they can decipher these inscriptions. So there are very few limited scholars. आप गिन सकते हैं हाथ में, who are really committed, and they are all aged. आजकल कोई नहीं. वो जो the legacy, it will be broken. So we have to make a serious efforts to see that we create another line of epigraphists, serious committed scholars who can decipher inscription. Not only that, you will be doing in manuscriptology also, even coins. These are the areas neglected of history. When you want to rewrite, redo, correct what our Britishers have done wrong, so unless you have this knowledge of the script, you can't do that. You will take it for granted. जो fleet पढ़ा वो हम लेते हैं, वैसे वो जाते हैं, वो ठीक है, वो हो गया. But if you have knowledge of the script, you can revise it. Whatever corrections or mistake might have been done, you can correct that. इसीलिए knowledge of the script बहुत ही जरूरत है. See, for younger generation, it's a must. I tell you, I can underline this. So the thrust of the talk is, it's not merely political. Epigraphs, what one of my former directors used to say, like Balochistam Jagat Sarvam. He says, Shasanochistam Jagat Sarvam. Anything under sun and moon, if you think of a subject, epigraphs has a reply. You can find, you can go to the sea. 10वीं शताब्दी में कैसे समाज था, through epigraphs only you come to know. It reflects the society. There may be some little demerits that cannot be highlighted much, but they are the practical source, whether to understand the economic history, or administration, or agricultural system, what not. You name anything, you find, go to epigraphs. There are many areas, political history kriya hai. So UP and around surrounding area, one of the history student, why can't they do some research? Go to the original source. अब काफी एरियाज है एपिग्राफी एरिया में, कैलीग्राफी में भी है, एपिग्राफी में भी है, काफी काम करने का, बहुत ही ज्यादा है करने का है. सो इसीलिए मैं बता रहा हूँ, इसको थोड़ा सीरियसली लीजिए. इट्स नॉट जस्ट ए वर्कशॉप, after that you take a certificate and go. It's not that. There is a very serious message I am giving. There are very senior scholars here and they should guide the others, youngsters, to take ahead. Otherwise, all the efforts will go in vain. So, unfortunately, the country or the government, whatever should say, we are giving too much emphasis on IT, technology. ठीक है, artificial intelligence भी आ गया, but not at the cost of humanities. Why do you put it back, brush aside? And you want all your children to pursue studies in either some technology, or you are not sending your to study, pursue history or humanities. So it is going. So we can create a lot of job opportunities also if we seriously think, both the state government, central government, many NGOs also, if they think, they can create. Just as a word, there are so many museums all around India. Why can't we have a specific curator to look into the epigraphs? Maintain a wonderful gallery, right from district to state and national level. No, nobody is there. And galleries bhi nahi. Even when you go to National Museum or any museum for that matter, there is no specific gallery for epigraphs. मूर्ति के साथ रखा है, but that is not enough. So the question of comes, we can create many opportunities for our youngsters. That's how with this, they have an MA in epigraphy, calligraphy and numismatics, Indian Institute of Heritage at Delhi. So committed students can join and go deeper into this and understand what it holds for us. So the epigraphs has a much material on this. So large number of inscriptions have come to light. So for all practical purpose, our source of understanding history and culture, right from Ashoka, normally we say that is the beginning. Though like Mahastan, Sagvara, Piplava, there are some inscriptions, but DC Sarkar and others, they keep it to the 3rd century BC. Krista Purva, तीसरी शताब्दी में रखा है ये सब. So, right from 3rd century BC or little earlier, up to medieval period, late medieval period, post Vijayanagar period also, you can go with epigraphs. एक लिटरेरी सोर्स भी है साथ साथ में, और आर्कियोलॉजी भी है, एपिग्राफी भी है. एंशिएंट पीरियड में आपको शासन के आधारित थे ज्यादा है. You have to solely depend on epigraphs for early period or ancient period. Medieval period, yes, you have some literary works, and epigraphs will supplement and corroborate these literary works. So the importance of early period, at least very, very important, Krista Purva, तीसरी शताब्दी से Krista Shaka, तीसरी इस 6th century is very important. अब जब ब्राह्मी का उद्गमन और origin and development, it has a long history of at least 1,200 years or 1,500 years. तीसरी शताब्दी से 12वीं शताब्दी तक आपका ब्राह्मी and its derivatives, say early Brahmi, late Brahmi, उसके बाद सिद्धमातृका, उस little early box-headed, nail-headed characters, Kutila Lipi, Siddhamatrika, and then little later this Sharda script, Proto-Bengali, early Nagari. Scripts were different, but the language used was the early phase Prakrit and later phase Sanskrit. 6 Shatabdi, 600 years, Prakrit was there in use. And from 4th century onwards, at least with the emergence of the Guptas, no looking back, Sanskrit became a pan-Indian language. You think Brahmi was the pan-Indian script and Sanskrit was the pan-Indian language? Whether you go to the topmost Kashmir to Kanyakumari, you can converse fluently in Sanskrit. Anybody could follow. That was the national language, the early past. Now, we are forgetting such an important language, and even Sanskrit gained its importance even 5th, 6th century in the south. Along with Kannada, Sanskrit was there. Along with Tamil, Telugu, Sanskrit also continued as a court language. साथ साथ में वो भी थे, ये बस नहीं, ये रीजनल लैंग्वेज से नहीं. See, even there are, you have Marathi inscription, even in Sanskrit also we have. Even in North also, along with other language, Sanskrit continued. So even now it is there. That's the binding force, it controlled the entire Indian subcontinent. That what anybody could read and understand. The Prakrit was in the earlier phase and the Sanskrit in the second phase. So it's a very important aspect. Now, nature of epigraphs, so we can construct social history, religious, administrative, economic history, cultural history. Cultural history में सांस्कृतिक अध्ययन शासन के ऊपर बहुत कुछ कर सकते हैं. उत्तर प्रदेश में भी काफी बड़ा एरिया है. आप एक छोटा एक लेके उसमें क्या क्या शिला शासन मिला है और ताम्रपत्र मिला है, उसके आधार पर आप एक चारित्रिक कल्चरल हिस्ट्री किया है, अभी भी कर सकते हैं. काफी कुछ मटेरियल्स है. So the nature of epigraphs, I told already, the copper plate and stone inscriptions. So the great importance of inscription lies in the fact they offer information about personages, events of Indian history about which nothing is known from any other source. Please remember, when everything is silent, epigraphs come to your rescue. It reflects what the society was, how it was. And how selectively chosen some epigraphs, those which includes political history also. We have some very major inscriptions like Allahabad Prashasti, Prayag Prashasti. They are all data. What should I say? It's not merely political history you can look for. Cultural history is there. Though the main emphasis is on the political exploits, but you can analyze an inscription from different perspectives. A paleographer will see उसका कैसे उद्भव हुआ, कैसे विकास हुआ. When we see the Allahabad Pradesh को paleography कैसे था, कैसे है, late Brahmi कैसे, Eastern variety, what are all the peculiarities. So a paleographer will see. A great Sanskrit will see, कितना बड़ा प्रशस्ति है. It's a very of very high literary value. A political historian will see the political history. So a single inscription offers various perspectives. ये जो समुद्रगुप्त प्रशस्ति है, इसमें ज़्यादातर आपका आई एम साइटिंग हियर फॉर a political history. So it's not any chronology based है, नहीं, हम सिर्फ ये अलग अलग इंस्क्रिप्शन से कैसे आप निकाल सकता है, उसको कैसे एनालाइज कर सकते हैं एक शासन को. एंड आई हैव मैसेज, प्लीज डू सी फ्रॉम द कल्चरल पर्सपेक्टिव. Anybody can contact me later also. If you are really interested to pursue some research interest, they can call me or contact me so that I can give further way, show the path how to proceed. So this is very important thing. And Allahabad Prashasti mein jo major, you see the political exploits. What are the territories he conquered, and all these you find in this Allahabad Prashasti is very important. Similarly, very late period I have taken social history. Social history, you can see in the Vijayanagar period, there was some conflict, between Vaishnavas and the Jains. So Krishnadevaraya could interfere and solve the disputes. इसको शिलालेख में उल्लेखन है. तो आप ये देख सकते हैं विजयनगर शासन. It's a huge large number of inscriptions are there. You can look for any aspects in this. So this is one such where he tries to sort out some differences between Jains and the Vaishnava. So the social history, I am just giving only a bit, is only a tip of the iceberg, or I am pointing. You can go further deep into it. Only I am showing how you can proceed. Another Vijayanagar, there is a graphic account. You all know that in Rajasthan, any part of the country, the Varadakshina or Kanya Shulka is very rampant, great melody. I mean, this is not something. It is there in the past 500 years, 600 years before. So it is seriously taken note of. Whomsoever receives Varadakshina or Kanya Shulka, they will be excommunicated, they will be kept away from that. This one, a serious punishment. So all the scholars, they assembled, signed a document which forbade Kanya Shulka and Varadakshina in any marriage. Don't you think you have a piece of leaf how to correct the society from the past? They were there, now also we are continuing that. So there's a message in this, such things you can look for. So they threatened punishment by the king, social exclusion from the community for receiving this shulka. And they also gave the privileges like like Bharat, the king, from their end, they used to arrange horse, bride and bridegroom riding a horse in a procession, and that being allowed by the royal command is also known from inscription. This is only a piece of information I am giving. So either you can take either the Gardwalas, any dynasty you see, political history is already there. You can review those inscriptions from cultural point of view, what it has got, how the society existed, what are the economic conditions, religious condition like that. That need to be done. So all of you heard, mostly those are Rudradaman Prashasti. No, I don't call that Prashasti. Junagadh inscription of Rudradaman, it states and gives the history what happened 400 years before, during his time. So it connects the public utility work carried out. So it was repaired and it recounts the history that happened some centuries before. When it comes to economics, see the relevance, whether you take the commerce or economics or whatever, when you look into the ancient knowledge system, it was there. They are reflected in the inscription, they are reflected in the literary works. And now we are pursuing it. It is not something new. See, one thing, when you see analyze the professions, India was basically an agrarian economy. The cattle was the wealth that was in terms of, to count, they used to say the cattle wealth, how much he had. Now, you see, it's going on. We are putting our economy on another side. Now, where is the land? Nothing. So, it's a huge transformation is coming in our way in the society. Even if piece of land is there, the apartments and so many things, they don't leave any land for the cultivable lands is shrinking. It's coming close. So the economy in those days, the agriculture and other small professions also thrived. I will show that. For example, you call a merchant. It's a very important. In terms of commerce and economics, when we see, we call it Shreshti. He is Sethi now, VK Sethi. Sarthavaha. Who is a Sarthavaha? He is a businessman going from place to place, selling his commodities. He never confined to one place. His job was to take the products from place to. He is called a Sarthavaha. Vanija, Vanik. Vanijya Shastra, we say. It is from Vanijya, commerce. So Vanija is a small, again a businessman, compared to Shreshti of little higher, Sarthavaha, Vanija. Like this, epigraphs give many such small terms. And they have different shades of meaning. English we say one, we say temple or shrine or cell, at least there are 6 or 7 names for a temple in Sanskrit language. It gives different shades. But when we convey in one, we say it is temple. मंदिर भी है अलग अलग रूप में, हम उस जमाने में वो अलग ही तरीके से हम अलग अलग नाम से जानकारी रखते हैं. So again connected with the economy, the business, what we call, the guilds, merchant guilds, are very popular. Whether you take Central India, there were silk weavers were there. See, each guild, they formed. The potters, they had their own guild. Oilmongers, they had their own guild. The flower makers, they had their guild. And blacksmith, each profession, they formed their own guilds and they thrived. And they were doing some lot of meritorious acts also. Renovating a temple, giving donations. So guild formed a very important, and this is one area now serious research students can do some, pursue this. What are the guilds that persist in the past? And you can take different regions from east to west and all this. So popularly they are studied in south. North also we have Mandasur inscription mentions that silk weavers did. ये बहुत ही ये अच्छा एरिया है. And we use that, to weigh a machine, that the product आधा किलो दे दो, 1 किलो दे दो सामान, और इस तरह वो तोल के देते हैं. उस समय में भी छोड़ा पीरियड में भी weighing machine weighing था. They gave different names like Velvidugu, Pandarakkal. These are the weighing machines, weighing stones. वो उसको हिसाब से वो देते थे. So the छोड़ा period you have got both the liquid measurement. You can liquid भी measure करते थे, वो भी करते थे. So these terms are found in epigraphs. So that's very important. And tax. Now हम हर बजट में सोचते हैं क्या क्या टैक्स हो गया, डायरेक्ट टैक्स है, इनडायरेक्ट टैक्स है. उस जमाने में बहुत टैक्स था. एग्रीकल्चर प्रोड्यूस दे कलेक्टेड टैक्स. इवन टू फिक्स फ्री, आप इधर से उधर जाते हैं वो टैक्स देना पड़ता है. हर चीज के लिए कुछ टैक्स था. So again छोड़ा पीरियड में ये रही, all this connected with the agricultural products. So there are many tax term. इसके ऊपर भी बहुत बड़ा एक रिसर्च हो सकता है. DC सरकार has written about the technical terms, but इसको आगे लेके बहुत कुछ कर सकते हैं इस एरिया में रिसर्च. इरई, काडामई, एच्चेरू, these are all the tax terms for agricultural produce from the cultivators. उनको तो कुछ देना पड़ता है. Party will go to the king and like this. So epigraphs referring to different professions. This is what we are connected with today. The technology and what it has, epigraphs has to say, its importance. I want to say epigraphs are not only to the concept political history, उसका अलग अलग है. आप उस तरीके से सोच के political history, economic history, cultural history सब बन सकता है. Religious history, major. Like we had that professions ranged from utilitarian like carpentry, smithery, to the highly skilled art like ivory. Dantakara was very famous in those days, who works on ivory. See, you get so many names here. Like carpenter, we even call Vadaki is a carpenter who works on that. And there is an inscription, Panorama figures in a name of the person, carpenter, Sanchi Stupa inscription of 3rd and 2nd century BC. We find reference to Lohika, that who works on the smith, Karaka or Lohika, and who works on metals, Kammara, blacksmith, guilds, Kasakara. We have a reference to guilds, potter, Kalarika. Kalarika is a person who makes pottery. Vasakara is a person who makes bamboo. अभी भी bamboo बाजार जाओ कुछ लेके आओ बताते. So that was one part, there were bamboo people, basket बनते थे और अलग अलग चीज होता था उस समय में भी. उसका guild भी था, like the basket makers. And saddler is a pallanakara. Horse के ऊपर वो लगाता है ना saddle, उसके है. And padakara, shoemaker. See, one is the you should think, today we are in a very complex society. There are so many professions, specialization. Earlier, other than the agriculture, that was the major area where you find the economy. And along with that, small professions thrived, which are referred in inscription. Otherwise, you don't get in other works. Inscription से ऊपर ही मिलता है. So, for example, the shoemaker, उनका नीड था शू करना था, ये एपिग्राफ्स में है, उनका पिताजी का नाम है, सब इस तरह वो लिखा है. So, this is particularly 3rd century BC to 3rd century Common Era. The 6th century is very crucial, where important epigraphs are very important. Either from the religious history or social history, economic history, we have to depend mainly on the epigraphs. उसके बाद ये है, see, coloring of the cloth, dye, chimpaka. We find, chimpaka is a person who dyes the cloth. उसको अलग अलग वो डाई बनाता है ना कपड़े का, वाइट से वो कलर से. क्लोक मेकर and cloak maker is a pravarikas. Rupakara is a sculptor. जो शिला मूर्ति बनाता है ना, उनका एक कम्युनिटी, वो क्लास था, उसका we call it रूपकारा sculptor. Dantakara is a person who works on ivory. And Suvarnakara is a goldsmith. Suvarnakara अभी भी है, a person who works on the gold. Suvarnakara and jeweler. Prartharika and Gandhika. Gandhika is a person who makes perfumery. One foreigner came and he was to make some small monograph on perfumery in ancient India. अलग अलग सोर्स निकाल के एक छोटा बुक बना दिया. So I mean to say a small work, if you go deeper, you can collect large number of references. Similarly, we have a reference to a person who deals with corn. Domnika, a person who deals with corn. Floor maker, Samitakara. We go to floor mill. उस समय में समितकरा is a person who prepares floor. Ironmonger, Lohavaniya, Karpasa is very important. That is the cotton thread, Karpasa is the cotton. Cotton was very largely used. And food grain, dhanya. So, all these terms which occur in inscription right from 3rd century, mainly in this 2nd and 3rd century Common Era. Very important. So, there are inscriptions which stands for religious condition. See, the Besnagar inscription is very important to see the religious condition. See, the Heliodorus, that is the strong Vaishnava movement, Bhagavata cult. जब लोग आप विदिशा गए तो ये स्तंभ देख सकते हैं आप, बेसनगर पिलर inscription. With inscription it is there, it's a huge pillar. जब आप टूरिस्ट तरफ जाते थोड़ा देख लीजिए, don't take a couple of selfies and come. उसमें क्या है, क्या लिखा है, किस थोड़ा वो देखना चाहिए. Develop that taste, develop that interest. Unless you know little bit of Ramayana or Mahabharata पढ़ने के बाद, अब you can identify those panel, what is it is connected with, what it has got to say. The sculpture has taken so much time to engrave. If you don't appreciate our legacy, are there, what is the point? So, after listening to this lecture, when you go to some part of the temple, थोड़ा शासन है या उधर इधर को देख लीजिए. See, unless you do young people some field work, आप आगे कुछ नहीं कर सकते. आप जब जाएंगे, गांव जाएंगे और थोड़ा मंदिर की तरफ जाए तो ऐसा नहीं, थोड़ा देखो, हर तरफ घूम के देखो, कुछ छोटा शिलालेख है क्या इधर, देन यू ट्राई टू पिक्चर इज डॉक्यूमेंट. आजकल मोबाइल तो हर के पास है, डॉक्यूमेंट करो, उसको थोड़ा निकालो, क्या है उस गांव का महत्व, क्या है बताओ. इफ समबडी इज डैमेजिंग, बिकॉज कभी कभी हम शिलाशासन देखते कपड़े धोने के लिए यूज करते हैं, और ऐसा वन दे आर यूजिंग दैट टू फीड ए बफेलो. एक कुशान शिलाशासन है, उसके ऊपर वो रख के वो दे आर ट्राइंग टू फॉर्डर देयर बफेलो और काउ को. सो उन लोगों को मालूम नहीं. गांव में जब देखे तो एक जैना इंस्क्रिप्शन, जैना इमेज, उसको सिर काटते थे. इफ द इंस्क्रिप्शन दे दे थिंक सम ट्रेजर इज इनसाइड, उसको वो खत्म कर देते. और शिलाशासन है तो भी उसको सिंदूर चढ़ाते हैं. कम से कम पढ़ने का भी नहीं आते, उतना तक सिंदूर लगा के आप 10वीं शताब्दी का हो सकता है मूर्ति, कुछ नहीं दिखते, क्या कर सकता आप बताओ. तो कम से कम अवेयरनेस तो करो. ऐसे आपके गांव है, इसका महत्व है, इट हैज इट्स ओन हिस्ट्री ऑफ hundreds and thousands of years. If you don't play the very major role, इसलिए मैं बता रहा, आप 10 लोग है तो, और आप 10 लोग को आप बता सकते हैं, and it should go on. Fortunately, this awareness is much better in the south, much better. There are many freelance epigraphists in Tamil Nadu. They go out of their, they copy inscription, they take interest to learn. But it has tragically come down in the north. It's very sad state of affairs. We have such a rich, I didn't have time. Otherwise, I would have come with a beautiful presentation of epigraphical heritage of Uttar Pradesh. हर स्टेट में जब जाता हूँ, एक पीपीटी वो प्रेजेंटेशन करता हूँ. व्हाट इज देयर? आई वाज देयर इन कामरूपा, गुवाहाटी और शिमला, एपिग्राफिकल हेरिटेज ऑफ हिमाचल प्रदेश और चंडीगढ़ और पंजाब. यू टेक, यू नेम एनी स्टेट, देयर आर हंड्रेड्स ऑफ इंस्क्रिप्शन. सो उसको एक कर सकते हैं आप. इसलिए मैं जब ब्राह्मी पढ़ाता हूँ, उनको बोलता हूँ, मैं जो आपको सिखा रहा हूँ ये तरीका है आप बच्चे को सिखाने का. जब 6वीं शताब्दी का 6th स्टैंडर्ड स्टूडेंट कैन लर्न, ये ब्राह्मी सीखने में क्या है. ब्राह्मी जो बैंगलोर में एक 6th स्टैंडर्ड स्टूडेंट्स को पता किया, उनका नाम लिख दिया, फ्रेंड्स का नाम लिख दिया, जस्ट विद इन 1.5 hours to 2 hours. देखिए, और थोड़ा आगे से वो कुशान लिपि में लिखते हैं और क्षत्रमा पे भी लिख सकते हैं. So it's a very serious thing, and I want a good presence. इतना लोग बाहर से बुला रहे हैं, but hardly I see, not many taking part, active participation in this such great workshops. It's see, we take pain to come, they take lot of correspondence to fix a person to bring in here. And all of you should take the advantage of it. There is a seriousness in this message. So this very important aspect, and स्कंदगुप्ता का एक शासन है, इसमें क्या है? See, I'm not focusing on the Vaishnava or Shaivite. This inscription is very important from the point of worship of the sun god. कोणार्क में मंदिर है और sun god was very powerful those days. You find lot of such references. So he's called Bhaskara, who is described being ritualistically by enlightened Brahmanas, the protector of mankind from the mental and physical ailments. So we senior people were asked to go थोड़ा terrace के ऊपर थोड़ा vitamin ले लो. So we go to sun at least to take some vitamins instead of supplementing with the capsules or tablets. कम से कम धूप में बैठना अच्छा है. So these are the physical practical things, and they realized sun god can take away our mental illness, physical illness. He is the only God we can see daily ritually and worship him. And ये मंडसोर में कम से कम 10 नाम से बुला रहा है. भास्करा, आदित्य, दीप्त रश्मि. What a beautiful name. आजकल कोई नहीं सोचता इन सब रिंकी चिंकी पांडे अच्छा अच्छा नाम रख सकते. दीप्त रश्मि, व्हाट अ ब्यूटीफुल नेम. तो भगवान का नाम भी हो जाएगा, नाम भी हो सकता है. तो इतना है उसमें. सो दिस दीप्त रश्मि, देखिए आप जब ये शासन पढ़ते हैं हर वर्ष में अलग अलग सूर्य भगवान का नाम दिया है. And the verses has each different names. Both. And normally most of you are familiar with this. Even our Honorable Prime Minister also, mostly when the elections are around the corner, last few years, we are taking that Uttarmerur inscription. So both zikr kiya hai, ye to very important. इस 10वीं शताब्दी में चौड़ा पीरियड में एक छोटा गांव में कैसे इलेक्शन करते थे. So what are all the rules, regulations? In a free and fair way they could conduct elections. So this how the Uttarmerur inscription Parantaka is a very earliest, though small area, बहुत कुछ लिखा है इसमें. What are the qualifications, like that. So this is Chaturvedi Mangalam. Okay. So the Gorakhpur inscription, say the administration. अभी भी कोई क्षाम है, बाढ़ है, when there is a famine, drought or fire, how the administration will get into action. So in 3rd century BC, there were such mechanisms where they could act upon, like at the time of the Mahasthan inscription, refers to situation, outbreak of floods, fire, drought, and they used to keep some granary. They used to distribute by way of cash or this grain also to the people. The Vedic college is there. So this after this about education is a very important. If time permits, I will go with that a few references. Very important early references. I will just read out to you once this is over. But yes, the time, if I see there, some aspects very interesting, because we are all connected with faculty and education. We should know what the education that prevailed in the past and what are the epigraphical references regarding this. So the one is Ennayaram. Here I am quoting from Chola inscription. If you see, it mentions what are the subjects that were taught, like Samaveda, Atharvaveda, Soma, all the subjects like Puranas, the Ramayana, all this it mentions. and what are the qualifications for him, and how much allowances were given. See, it's not, now we see this, put this scale so much so, but it mentions the allowance given to them. विद्यार्थी का कितना वेतन वो भी है, for stipends for the students कितना देते थे वो भी mention है, and teachers also. What are the subjects taught? Don't you think that is something it has got great relevance for now? We can easily connect. Like Kautilya Arthashastra में पढ़ाते थे, like Arthashastra to all the other sciences, who are all grammarians. पाणिनि अष्टाध्याय भी पढ़ाते थे, वो सब मेंशन है उसमें. So there was a college. Normally it is associated with the temple. We call it Ghatikotsava, connotation. वही पुराने से आया घटिकोत्सव, घटिकस्थान. What is, like when you go to Nalanda, Ahichatra, Takshila and Kanchipuram, they are all very famous educational centers. And you see the migration from here, south to north, east to west, the migratory trend of the Brahmanas you can see, you can study, and that would be a very good study and contribution for this. How from south to north they move, and similarly from there was very free movement. Now we not, it is a POK, Pakistan occupied, kaise jayenge, the Pandits were in problem. It's not like that the earlier situation. From Kashmir they used to come down south, Karnataka, and similarly these people used to go there and assimilate their culture and have their very peaceful life. The cultural currents, you see the movement. And we have a dancer, those who want to work on fine arts. Again, there is a reference, the Jogi Mara cave, Sitabanga is there. There it mentions to one a dancer by name Sutanuka. Sutanuka means a lady who possesses a beautiful body. Sutanuka is a person. And Devadatta is again from Varanasi. So he fell in love with her. So the inscription is the earliest reference to this one. And again Shilahara, 6th-7th century, it mentions the vocal and instrumental music. इसके बारे में जिक्र है उसमें. वाद्य गीत नृत्य नृत्यार्थे, about instrumental music, about dance now. And such references, I'm giving only one. You may find many like that. See about the music when we speak, the Sangeeta Ratnakara, so much later work. But in Pallava period of 7th century, there is an inscription which gives the musical notation. It gives this one. So this is very important. And more important is, in the 11th century in Karnataka, there is an inscription of Vikramaditya. It is a temple from Galaganatha, Haveri district. It mentions a certain Mokhari Barmaya. Mokhari is a Mukhari. In Karnataka we say Mukhari, Raga. So Mokhari Barmaya, he had the title Bhakti Saraga Bahu Kala Brahma. The king gave the title. He knew 32 ragas, not one or two. He was very well known, and recognizing his musical talent, his king gave the title Bhakti Raga Bahu Kala Brahma. So this only just I'm giving. Now I'm opening up for you different area how you can work in the fine arts, in music, literature, Sanskrit, whatnot. You name any topic, I will suggest where you can work on that. Why can't you work on the Jainism through the ages in Uttar Pradesh? You trace out what is the earliest inscription, how over the period, what it sheds light on its Jainism, its development in any part for that matter, or you can take a small section. So that if you see you can use history at the local, regional level is still important. We think of a very broad picture. The local narratives or regional history is very important. That's what when I was in Rajasthan and Jaipur, when I was giving a talk, even the Chhatris or the Mahasati stone, they are very significant. Though of later period, they supplement our other literary and other works. एंड उसको वो सब प्रोटेक्ट करना है, बहुत ज़रूरी है. अब बड़ा बाग जाते हैं, when you see जैसलमेर, there are large number of monuments are there, that is there. And people remember when we take off some shootings. So that is one area. So you can work on this, some aspect. And now the Sanskrit poetry is very important. These are all other things. And I want to devote little time for education. I will concentrate on that before I conclude this. So the Kavya style, each, I don't know the Rudradaman inscription, Alaha Prashasti, Aihole, there are at least a dozen and more are of very high literary value. Even Sanskrit students, when I conduct a workshop, I keep open for Sanskrit students. उनको तो समझना चाहिए, those teachers should know what is the value hidden in these epigraphs. Battery low, low. Okay. So this so they are of very high poetic merit. Move नहीं हो रहा है. Slide is सही. Oh, sorry. So the inscriptions are far-flung. This written. So national integration, I was mentioning. So here is a very interesting inscription from Arago, Hassan. Gives the name of some members of a Kashmiri family which migrated in a village in Karnataka and came to Bhadrahu in Golavishya. What is Golavishya? Gulmohar, present. It was there in the past. How from the north they came down and they not only they came, they settled, they married the local people, and at least many Hoysala inscriptions mention. And they mean it Sharada Mandala. That's how the Sharada script came. Why this is the tutelary deity of Kashmir, Sharada. That's how we find in many of the inscriptions Sharada Mandala, Sharada Devi. So the marriage, they settle. So I already mentioned how it was there in the Southeast Asia. See, the Greater India, when we call it, it included many. This one, Southeast Asia में अभी काफी किया है, करना है. There are many Sanskrit inscriptions. 5वीं शताब्दी क्रिस्त पूर्व क्रिस्त शका से बहुत कुछ शिलाशासन है संस्कृत में जो लिखा है, उसको भी अध्ययन करना चाहिए. And Indo-Aryan culture, the Vedic rituals, आपका तो नाम है एक, we call it Yupa pillar inscription, especially bordering Bihar and UP. There are many Yupa inscriptions which commemorates the performance of various Vedic rituals like Ashmedha, Paundalika, Somayaga. Many such rituals are mentioned. So other than that, we find Cambodia, Borneo, Java, we find Vedic rituals there. So this, I take some more time to come to the education aspects. Is it all right? I highlighted a couple of inscriptions here, and here, especially with regard to education, I wish to mention a review of some of the inscription, especially of early period, unfolds before us education system that prevailed in the past. The role of education has a paramount place in understanding the cultural dimensions of a country. It's a very important. That's what in some context I prepared a paper. I'm giving some aspects of it, education. It has a bearing on our present, this one. So there are two sources for which we can, one is the literary source to understand the education, and another is epigraphs which shed light on the education system. Among the literary sources, there are many works, but the earliest reference says education, one can look into the Kautilya's Arthashastra. When you look for the education, how it was, if you want to see, you have to read Kautilya's Arthashastra. That is the earliest among the literary works. So analysis of inscription reveal that education, institutional education falls into two categories. One is the royal education. आपको मालूम है, महाभारत में आप देखें तो the Pandavas, the Kauravas, they had the royal, they were given separate education in martial arts and others, and there were commoners also. So one is the royal people who were given education specifically, and पाठशाला में other लोग जाते थे, commoners. So a brilliant and general public also, they had the education. The beginnings can be seen in the Ashokan rock edicts. Ashoka had a brilliant career and achievements, so that we can easily presume that he was thoroughly trained in the various branches of knowledge as prescribed by Kautilya, Arthashastra. There are two inscriptions. The subsequent period, Hathigamfa inscription of Kharavela first, and the Junagadh inscription of Rudradaman of 150 Common Era. It is known through the former inscription, Kharavela had gained expertise in Lekha, royal correspondence. Lekha means royal correspondence. Rupa means currency. He knew what was the currency prevalent at that point in time. And Ganana, that's the finance. Ganana, now is a finance. And Vyavahara, Prakrit, Vyavahara, and Vidhi, what are all the laws and this one. So they were trained in civil and religious laws and others. This proves beyond that diversified subjects were taught in Indian knowledge system. Very important, please make a note. And epigraphy has a major role. We can't afford to forget this. Again, through this we know that he attained wide fame by studying, remembering by knowledge and practice of grammar, music, logic, and other sciences. And little later period, when we come to Samudragupta, he had the title Kavi Raja. Samudragupta was known by name Kavi Raja, indicates that he professed the science of poetics. The royal education included the study of various sciences, beginning with military training and also studying subjects like the Vedas, Dharma Shastras, poetics, music, and other fine arts. It included. And as we all know, teachers occupied a prominent role. Teachers are there in those days. Among the rock edicts of Ashoka, minor rock edict 2 is noteworthy as it mentioned teachers and pupils. The Buddhist teachers were known by generic terms like Acharya. Acharya is common to all. Whether it is Hindu or Buddhist or Jain, we have that Acharya. Acharya and Upadhyaya. We get this. Upadhyaya also is there. And later perhaps it has become a surname. We say Upadhyaya. It becomes a surname. Acharya also. Both these, that is a study of onomastics. Very important. Study of place names and person names. Inscription has a very great influence. Suppose you can look for Agra, we say, what was it name in 1,000 years before? Inscriptions has a message for that. But you have to search. Each place you take any village. Gwalior, you say, it is called Gopagiri. In earlier, Jhansi was called Balwantanagar. Just 150 years old, it was called Balwantnagar. And later it became Jhansi. So, epigraphs is very fascinating area. Just like I told you, there are many, if you go to Orissa, like Panigrahi, there are many surnames which, they were there and became a surname. And for example, we say Duvedi, Trivedi, Dube. Dube is nothing but Duvedi. Trivedi, Chaturvedi, Chaube. Chaube is Chaturvedi. So, however, Atal Bihari Vajpayee ji, maybe his predecessor might have performed Vajpayee Yaga sometime. So, Vajpayee aa gaya. Somayajin, we say. He might not have performed, his forefathers might have done Soma Yaga. It has come as a name. So, each of you, if you have a surname, whether Agarwal or any name, You can look for ask your father, grandfather, where is the history? कम से कम ये जानना चाहिए, if you have that name, where it has started and where it can be connected. So it's a very important thing. Each individual should give. जब चाइना में 7 generation they remember, if you forget our own forefather, there is no meaning in that. And there is a local narrative you have to build. Each time I keep telling, your forefather may be attached to some royal family. उनको थोड़ा जानकारी लीजिए, क्या था उनका पोजीशन, क्या थे. अभी कम से कम कुछ लोग तो है, बुजुर्ग लोग हैं, उनसे तो you try to extract. Don't look for your current position. Go to past. Little कुछ narrative देखिए, क्या, how you can fix him in that social frame. What was his contribution to the society? And all these epigraphs will give this such information. So we have that, and Petakin we have in Tripitaka, Tripitaka, and Jaina Acharyas, Acharya Vachaka. Vachaka is very famous. Vachaka is nothing but a reader. In earlier, we had that reader was there. Later, it became associate professor. See, lecturer, reader, and then professor. So it was there. Vachaka is a reader. How it is through inscription only we have taken that. And then Brahminical teacher we come across Acharya, Upadhyaya, Trivedin. Trivedin is a Triveda, Chaturvedins like that. And among the students, we called Shishya. Shishya is now. Shishya, Prashishya. A student's student is called a Prashishya. Shishya, Prashishya. And then the Jains, we come across term like Antevasin. Antevasin is a lay worshipper, not Antevasin, Shishya. And we have got Shishini, a female student is also there. In Jaina is called Shishini. Shishya, normally we say, a girl student is called Shishini. So in Brahminical we have a Chhatra Vasa, we say hostel. Even now, men's or boys' hostel is called Chhatra Vasa. Chhatra is a Sanskrit word, it has come from past so many centuries. Chhatra mainly to devote the Vedic students. Later it came to all, but initially its significance lies with the Vedic studies. Chhatra Vasa, Chhatra, and then the subjects. The subjects of study, Calcutta Bharat inscription Barabar mentions, many texts. In Brahminical tradition, it's must 4 Vedas, 6 Vedangas, Puranas, Mimamsa, Nyaya, Dharma Shastra. These are all taught. And grammar, accountancy. Accountancy we have, bookkeeping. What is called that? Ganana is accountancy. Logic, polity, logic were popular. So it is well known that the scripts that prevailed in the past was Brahmi, a pan-Indian script, and then Prakrit was later. So when we take which language script they wrote, in course of time Brahmi became an unknown script. Even a child of a small child, when it enters small, he used to write in Brahmi only. Now what we write in Kannada or local, in those centuries if you go back, a small child will make its beginning education in writing Brahmi script. Abhi wo khatam ho gaya dheere dheere, फिर we are reviving it, became an unknown script over a period of time. It was there. So the beginnings of this study, I told already. So To say for a few words, India's rich epigraphical wealth, intensive and extensive epigraphical survey conducted throughout the length and breadth of the country has yielded hundreds of thousands of inscriptions written in various scripts and languages, far-flung in time and space, belonging to various dynasties from pre-Christian to late medieval period. Britishers are soon to realize the great architectural and sculptural heritage and established Archaeological Survey of India in the year 1861. 1861 by Alexander Cunningham, and also became his first Director General for conservation and preservation of cultural monuments. After lapse of 26 years, they established Epigraphy branch, which came into year 1887. And the branch was headed by E. Hulsch, a German scholar. He was the first government epigraphist, headed by many galaxies of epigraphists, who by their critical acumen and erudite scholarship enriched epigraphical studies and contributed immensely to reconstruct our glorious past by deciphering and critical editing of hundreds and thousands of inscriptions. So the technology is here. The technology is how we are adopting technology, and in the area of epigraphy, for a long time, we are using stamp paging inscription, which even now continues. Perhaps they took some good photographs in the early phase, but now, like any other area of archaeology, epigraphy, you have digitized cameras, you can use that, you can document preservation. So there is a need when you take the epigraphy or calligraphy also, I mentioned in those days, we depended on the eye copy of the inscription. Now each inscription you can take a very good digital photograph, and more precisely, perfectly you can define each letter. If some shortcomings are there by our earlier scholars, it could be overcome. So we have to think how we can adopt modern technology also in the area of epigraphy. It's not that archaeology alone. How epigraphy, you see, Bangalore there is a man, Mr. Uday Kumar, he is making 3D images. I am really convinced how even an inscription with very shallow engraving, तो उसको थोड़ा zoom करके अभी अच्छा पढ़ सकते हैं. So there is every scope. If Fleet or some scholar, Princip, anybody, we can review. आपको लोगों को यही बता रहा हूँ, जो पुराना ज़माना हो वो नहीं है, खत्म नहीं है, आप फिर दोबारा पढ़ना चाहिए, क्योंकि उस समय में क्या है, टेक्नोलॉजी उतना एडवांस नहीं था. अब नया टेक्नोलॉजी यूज करके you can improve the quality, the photographs. Automatically it leads you to improve your text also. Don't think if somebody has edited, it is an end. It's not like that. It is you are now, you can submit that for re-editing and qualitatively improve. Calligraphy अच्छा बना सकता है. मैं जब सोच रहा था, एक आई कॉपी है, digitally produced एक good eye copy you can make simultaneously. अभी जब ब्यूलर, शिवराम मूर्ति, ओझा सब आप जब बुक देखते हैं, उस समय में they have done the magnum, what should I say, the greatest work. अभी after दानी, इंडियन कैलीग्राफी में काफी नहीं हुआ है. So why can't we take now again review? We are just following, but there is every scope to do one exhaustive calligraphy charts in Indian calligraphy वो रख के कर सकते हैं. So the technological part you can include both in the area of epigraphy and calligraphical studies. So I am not that much technically savvy to take you make an in-depth study of the technology, but if you have good knowledge, you can definitely use, and there are many chances for the improvement of this. So with this, I wish to conclude today's talk, which I try to give a very brief account of to sum up the beginning. What is the art of writing? What are the different stages? Antiquity of writing in ancient world system, little, in a very brief way, and then the antiquity of writing in India, and the other than the political history, how our epigraphs are extremely useful in constructing cultural history. Cultural is a very broad term, administration, tax terms. I just gave a very brief of different aspects which are in a way directly connected with the modern society. We have grown from that state to today. It's not that we are not totally evolved on our own. Say, without the past, there is no present. Without present, there is no future. So it is one continuity we have to think. If at all that election system which I referred, it is that somewhere, it is gone, and we are evolving ourselves each day. Why we have to study history? Certain shortcomings, when I mentioned about the dowry system, we have to avoid. Long back, they could realize that. Rarest of the rare instance, a Vijayanagar inscription mentions the king was suffering from heart ailment and he had to go for surgery. शस्त्र चिकित्सा इस तरफ वो उल्लेख भी है. So this whether from medicine to technology, anything, there is our past roots are there. We have to slowly connect it and gather more and more information so that we can make good study. So I have tried to create, I think, something interest in this area. Maybe few, but please take epigraphy as one very serious area. It's not calligraphy is difficult. Yes, epigraphy आप कुछ books बना के आप further research भी कर सकते हैं, and the faculties are here who can also make their students at least to pick up, and as I told, there is a need for another very committed, serious epigraphist. There are hundreds and thousands of unpublished material. So if you think that if we can decipher, we can still enlarge, widen the scope of our history, whether it is Gupta to any dynasty you name, still many new things are gained, and we can add to our rich legacy. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for giving us valuable and detailed insights. We are really grateful to have you, sir. You have beautifully explained the importance and the vastness of the epigraphy. Epigraphy is very, very important, and the most important thing about epigraphy is we can validate and verify it if once deciphered. So this is the thing which is not anywhere related to rote learning or you can memorize. You can visualize, and if it is deciphered properly, you can know many, many, many more things about the history and validate it at the right time. Thank you, sir. Thank you from the bottom of our heart. And thank you, everyone.
Any questions from this side? Anybody would like to? Yeah. Hello? Yeah. कोई कोई पूछना तो any yeah. No, there is correct. And I do supplement that. In fact, there was another script and language where I have given a lot of illustrations from different early Brahmi to many. That's another presentation is there. Yes, here also it could be more, to know I will try to incorporate in this some good inscription, at least selected few for highlighting some of the aspects. Yeah. No, here the information that is contained more than the script, and so I thought I didn't give much importance to it, because the information contained in the inscription, when you look into these varieties, yes, when we talk about the script and its language, definitely, but here also they can have, at least for those who have not seen or studied, it can give a good insight into the form of the inscription. Yes, a course of time, as I was suggesting, you can also put together a 7 days workshop where I will have more time to take up you and at least to give a wholesome experience what epigraphs from early to the 12th century. It's normally I do in 2 sessions I have been doing. So also it can happen if some colleges and institution could come together, they can hold such a thing from university and archaeology, other departments, they can do that. Which museum? Huh? Okay. Oh, okay. If it's open, we can take a look. Definitely. Any other questions from any one of you? Yes.
As a layman language, because I was a retired banker,
Yeah.
what I understand, in the inception time, the पाषाण युग हम कह सकते हैं, जहाँ पत्थरों पर जो भी हमारा उस समय का ज्ञान था, वो जिस लिपि में भी उस समय चाहे ब्राह्मी लिपि या जो कुछ भी था, उसमें उकेरा गया, है ना?
Correct.
प्रिजर्व है.
Yeah.
After that, some ताम्र पत्र, फिर ये सब आया. तो आज की डेट में whether it is in the same condition or it is taken into the present, जो हमारा preservating का जो है, उसको हमने एक कॉपी किया, उसको अभी जो आज हमारी देवनागरी या जो ये रोमन लिपि है, स्क्रिप्ट है या देवनागरी स्क्रिप्ट है, उस समय उसको ट्रांसलेट करके अभी प्रिजर्व है या उसी कंडीशन में है?
नहीं, काफी इंस्क्रिप्शंस तो जो पब्लिश हुआ उसको देवनागरी लिपि में लिखा है, sometime Romanized भी किया है. But there are, I told no, there are many unpublished material. उसके बारे में ना हमारा एपिग्राफी ऑफिस में जो स्टैम्प पेज है, कुछ हो सकता है नहीं भी होगा, वो पढ़ने वाला कोई नहीं, ज़्यादा नहीं बता रहा हूँ. जो है there are hardly few, mean experts. उसको हम थोड़ा we have to increase that. And ये भी जो पुराने ज़माने में ड्यू टू वेगरीज ऑफ नेचर वो नष्ट हो रहा है, हो गया. सी ऐसे ही कुछ मॉन्यूमेंट्स प्रोटेक्ट कर रहे हैं. आप समझ लीजिए एक फील्ड में एक अच्छा पत्थर है, कोई नहीं बा, वो उसको चाप ले गया, चला गया. उसको प्रोटेक्ट करने वाला कौन है? विलेजर्स तो ग्रेजुअली उसको हम बताए ना, दे मे यूज एज अ वॉशिंग स्टोन और सम कंस्ट्रक्शन मटेरियल. आप मल्हार गए तो each you find they have used all the architectural members, घर में वो बना दिया, even the screen and the sub. So a great awareness we have to create, especially among the villagers about this our heritage. But most of them are getting destroyed, sir. To tell you, they are destroyed. Whatever by of स्टैम्प पेज अभी हमारा पास है मैसूर में, वही है. वो अभी आप गए तो वो पत्थर नहीं है, बिकॉज दे कॉपीड सम 80, 70, 80 years बिफोर. कहीं शिफ्ट हो गया होगा, कहीं नष्ट हो गया होगा. इवन इफ यू गो टू टेम्पल्स ऑल्सो, श्रीरंगम टेम्पल हम बता रहा हूँ, दे डू दैट सैंड ब्लास्टिंग टू मेक द टेम्पल लुक शाइनिंग. सो द डीपर एनग्रेविंग है ना, वो नष्ट हो रहा है. So gradually, even TTD, they want Tirupati, Tirumala, they want to plate the entire thing. But the court said no, you have to keep open the inscriptions like that for पढ़ने के लिए. So आप जो observation है, most of the inscriptions are getting destroyed because many are not moved to museum. They think very important they are moved. कई वही छोड़ के गए हैं. So ज़्यादातर तरफ डिस्ट्रिक्ट लेवल में एक स्कल्पचर शेड होना चाहिए, उधर वो जो शिलालेख है उसको प्रिजर्व कर सकता है. ये यही एक तरीका है. हाँ, या यस Yeah. Oh, okay.
What the government of the ASI is doing in this field to do?
Unfortunately, nothing is done. Because their focus is on archaeology, conservation, preservation. ये जो एपिग्राफी हम पहले बताया ना, उसको pushed to the background. कई बार हम रिक्वेस्ट कर रहे थे स्टेट गवर्नमेंट में भी टू क्रिएट मोर नंबर ऑफ पोस्ट, बिकॉज स्टिल देयर आर मेनी कमिटेड स्टूडेंट्स है, बट इट कम्स टू देयर लाइवलीहुड, देयर प्रोफेशन. बट आउट ऑफ पैशन आप किसी को बता सकते हैं, बट इफ दे वांट टू क्रिएट अ प्रोफेशन वी हैव टू मेक ए लॉन्ग वे सो दैट दे कैन बी अकोमोडेटेड एंड लर्न. Okay, yeah.
We have a museum and around 1500 exhibits are actually displayed.
Yes. We will take a look.